have found the Genesis frequency. This is Dr. Stephen J. Kazmina welcoming you in to another episode of a show that focuses on your whole life prosperity and success. Whole life prosperity and success by cooperating with the universal laws that are available to each and every one of us. This is Quantum Leap Goal Achievement, radical personal transformation, whole life prosperity and success. Now, stay tuned for another exciting episode that'll move the needle in your life from where you are now to where you want to be.
And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it may be, wherever you are in the world when you hit that play button. So glad you did. This is Dr. Cause and Effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kazmina coming at you with another episode of the Genesis Frequency. And I want to dive right in this morning. You know, this show is all about personal development, professional development, leadership development, spiritual development, all the things that improve life and living and the things that we do and the things that we engage in and the things that we're passionate about. And one of the things that I've been talking more and more about lately is leadership development. And, you know, I was looking around this morning and last few days, what am I going to talk about next podcast, which direction I want to go. And since I am a franchisee of Leadership Management International, I just came back from the international convention where all of us franchisees, master licensees from all around the world came together. Really inspired. I'm looking around my desk and I'm looking, yeah, I think I can distill down some of the principles in Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill and how they apply to our roles as leaders and leadership development and how that all works because it's a classic work. And I want to talk about that a little bit today and hopefully inspire you and give you some new ways to think about developing the leader that you are into a more effective and efficient leader and see how that shows up in your life. So let's take a dive in. And as you know, I am so grateful, so happy for you listening and tuning in, either whether it's your first time or you've been here many, many, many times. As always, again, this space is about personal development, leadership growth, conscious evolution, and it all begins where? You know, that's why I call it the Genesis frequency. It all begins with thought, with intention, with that Genesis frequency we move into where we're open to the infinite input, right? So today we're diving into leadership development through the lens of one of the greatest personal development classics of all time, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Now, while Hill's work is often associated with wealth and financial success, and rightly so, the principles outlined in this book are powerful tools for leadership at any level. They're principles for developing ourselves, influencing, other people that we work with, other people in general positively, other team members, other people in the organization. And this is about us showing up at the highest version, or I should say, as the highest version of who we are meant to be. So whether you're leading a team of one or 1,000, whether you're a business owner, an executive, a ministry leader, or an emerging entrepreneur, today's message is for you. As I always say, you're in the right place at the right time. So let's get into it. So where do we begin? If we're looking at leadership development through the lens of Think and Grow Rich, well, I would say that leadership begins with desire, the starting point of all achievement. You got to want it, right? Hill tells us that desire is the starting point of all achievement. In our companies, in our small businesses, in our organizations, in our ministries, all of it. Not a hope, not a wish, but a burning desire for definite achievement. Now, as leaders, it's critical to become crystal clear about what we truly want, not only for ourselves, but for the people we lead and the vision we serve. Leadership without vision is like a ship without a rudder. I know it's a little cliche, but truly it is. If we don't know where we're going, we don't have that rudder. We don't have that guide. We don't have that direction. We don't have that compass. Leadership without desire is lifeless. So desire is the fuel. It energizes our goals, our actions, and our persistence. So here's a leadership question for you. Have you defined, and I say this all the time, have you defined your definite chief aim as a leader? And maybe we go back to the drawing board and look at purpose and mission and vision and core values. All of these should be defined. Do you know where you're going, and can you communicate that effectively with passion and with clarity to those you lead? Just because you understand it, just because you see it, we got to be very, very crystal clear when we're communicating this to others, when we want to get everyone else on board. Remember, people follow certainty. And we get to that place of certainty when you can communicate that effectively. They follow those who know where they're headed. They want to know, where are we going? Where are you taking us? Right? So here's leadership principle number one. I outlined a few of these. Leadership principle number one: develop a burning desire to be, do, and achieve at the highest level, and help others catch that same fire. All right, let's keep moving. Second up, the second principle from Hill is faith. And this is the leadership mindset, right? Belief in the unseen. You're going in a direction, you're going somewhere, you know where you go, you have the mission, you have the vision, you see it, you got it well defined, you clarity, but it's not, it's visible using the power of your imagination. So we have to believe in the unseen. We have to have a belief in our ability, and a real strong belief in the vision before it even manifests, right? Hill calls faith the, what does he say? He says the eternal elixir that gives life, power, and action to our desires. Think about that. The eternal elixir giving life, power, and action to our desires. Now, in leadership, faith looks like confidence, not arrogance, but that calm, steady assurance that no matter the challenge, there is a way forward. This faith is contagious. A leader's belief or lack of it will always ripple out to their team. Keep that in mind. It'll always ripple out. So what are you putting out there? Leadership is not about having all the answers. It's about holding the space of belief long enough, strong enough, until the answers are revealed, until the way becomes clear. Everything's crystallizing. The vision is coming together, right? So we have faith in the vision. So how do we develop this kind of faith if you don't think you have it right now? Well, Hill tells us, and I've talked about it a lot here. Hill uses the term autosuggestion. I use the term affirmation. the repeated affirming of what we desire, spoken with feeling and emotion. Remember that. We got to wrap it in feeling and emotion, and spoken in the present tense as if it's already true. In the success planner that I encourage you to use and that I use, and hey, reach out to me. Let's get you involved with one. The My Time Success Planner, the one and the original. We have places in the goal planning system, call it the GPS, the goal planning system, for you to identify not only your challenges and obstacles, but flip those to the polar opposite, design an affirmation, and write your affirmation right in your planner, right on the goal planning system sheets. Very, very powerful. This is incorporated into the work that I do as a franchisee of Leadership Management International, and all the work that I do, speaking, workshops, programming, programs, consulting, all of that. You got to have that affirmation built in. It helps to build up this faith. And remember, present tense, I'm so happy and grateful now that. So that's a leadership exercise really for you today. What are the affirmations you are speaking over your leadership role? Affirmations over your team, your business, your mission? Are your words fueling faith, or are they feeding fear? Think about that. I know I work with a lot of people, and they don't realize, they don't hear themselves. I don't know why. Maybe they're just walking around unconscious, but I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what we're going to do now. The economy, this, I don't know what we're going to do. We lost Jensen over there in the account. It's all over the board. Those are not words of faith. So do this exercise, okay? What are the affirmations you're speaking over your leadership role, your team, and your business and your mission? Is it positive or negative? Any words that you put after I am, we are, you are, you're affirming something, right? And so many do this in a negative way, from negative pole thinking. So it's very important, the words that we speak consistently. Really, you have to realize we're engaging with the subconscious mind here. We're cleaning up and installing new programming that's in alignment with what we want to achieve. So this is key. It's really, really important. Great leaders are mindful of the words they speak, both out loud and silently in the mind, right? We can take the right actions. Maybe we got control of our facial expressions, but and what we speak outwardly, but what are we saying inside, right? Do we say, "Oh, great job, Jenkins," but inside we're saying, "What an idiot." We got to be careful, because our subconscious mind is hearing all of it. All right. Next point, specialized knowledge. We have to be lifelong learning leaders, lifelong learners, and lifelong, that helps us along this leadership path. The lifelong learning of leaders is what I guess the words I'm reaching for. So we want to be lifelong leaders. That's why, I really encourage, when I go into an organization and we talk about leadership development, that decision makers, it starts at the top. Decision makers, the board, C-suite executives, supervisors, management, all should go through the effective personal productivity programs that I facilitate, the effective personal leadership. These are all learning tools, and we learn in a certain way. We can go to workshops, we can go to get our CEUs if we're a professional getting those. We can go to hear a talk, we can engage with HR's learning lab and digital videos and quizzes and stuff like that. But unless it's done in a certain way, there's no retention. So reach out to me. Let's talk about that. But let's get back to what we're talking about right now, and I'll talk more about how you can reach out to me at the end here. But I really want to highlight this principle, specialized knowledge, because Napoleon Hill makes a clear distinction between just our general education and specialized knowledge applied with action. See, everything we do here at my company, Success Ocean International, through LMI, Leadership Management International, everything has an application and an action principle. What I'm saying is, people and participants that go through our program, they work through a lesson and they spend time on that, and then they must apply it to the work that they're doing. They must take action on the material, so it is shown to reap some fruits and benefits for the participant. And we do this over and over and over again. The retention is fueled, right, when we involve different senses. So we're taking action, we're writing, we're listening over and over again. It's specialized knowledge applied with action. For us as leaders, uh, all of this, all of this is a call to be continual learners. But more than that, it's a call to seek out the specific knowledge that will help us achieve our definite purpose. Leadership requires skill development, communication, conflict resolution, emotional intelligence, vision casting, sales conversation, team building. These are not things we're born knowing. They are skills we must commit to mastering. You took a class in college or at the university 20 years ago. That does not mean that you are a master of any of these. So here's a leadership principle for you. Never stop learning. And equally important, surround yourself with people who have the knowledge you may not yet possess, right? Napoleon Hill speaks about the concept of the mastermind, a group of like minded individuals who come together for the purpose of mutual growth and success. Every great leader understands this, understands the power of connection, collaboration, and shared wisdom. If you are not in a leadership group, if you're not in a CEO group or wherever you are in your organizational structure, find one. If you are the smartest person in the room, find a new room. Just ask yourself, who's in your inner circle? Who are your advisors, your mentors, and truth tellers? Leadership is not a solo journey. All right. So then we move into decision, and that's really what I like to call the leadership edge. When I talk about power, decision is in there. Absolutely. Hill identifies decision as one of the key attributes of successful people. He found through his research that leaders who succeed make decisions quickly and change them slowly, if at all. Indecision breeds doubt, confusion, stagnation. And where there's confusion, there's always a leadership vacuum. And from my experience, I see the best leaders are decisive. They really are. They're not reckless, but they are bold. They gather the necessary information, they do the due diligence, they weigh their options, and then they choose a course of action. They understand that waiting for the perfect clarity often that leads to missed opportunities. So here's the challenge. Are there decisions you've been putting off in your leadership role? You got to make the decision. What conversations need to be had? What direction needs to be chosen? Remember, even so called wrong decisions can often be corrected, but no decision at all leaves you and your team stuck. So, leadership principle, trust yourself, gather input, yes, but then decide and lead the way and stay with it. Next point, persistence. This should wind like a thread through everything. Persistence, the sustaining power of leadership. Another core principle in Think and Grow Rich. This is a big principle. It's persistence. Hill calls persistence the sustained effort necessary to induce faith and transform desire into its physical equivalent. In leadership, this looks like consistency, showing up day after day, even when the results aren't immediate, continuing to hold the vision, continuing to encourage and uplift, continuing to take the next right action. Persistence is not about grinding ourselves into exhaustion. It's about aligning with the vision and committing to stay the course. Napoleon Hill warns that lack of persistence is one of the major causes of failure. He also reminds us that most people give up when success might be what? Just around the corner. Right there, and you quit. So, leadership principle, stay the course. Don't mistake delay for denial. Keep your hand to the plow. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence, right? It will show up. Consistent daily efforts. Don't forget the power of the mastermind, collaborative leadership. I mentioned the mastermind earlier, but it bears repeating here. Hill defines the mastermind as the coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. This is not just a networking group. This is strategic alliance, intentional community, leaders who come together to challenge each other, support each other, and hold one another accountable to higher standards. Great leaders don't isolate themselves. They seek out wise counsel and they foster environments where ideas can flourish. Excuse me. If you don't yet have a mastermind, consider this your invitation. Even one or two trusted colleagues can become that sounding board, that source of encouragement, and that check against blind spots. Get yourself an accountability partner. Get somebody. Build your team. Leadership principle. Leadership thrives in community. Okay? And then imagination. The workshop of leadership innovation is our imagination. Hill speaks of imagination as the workshop of the mind, where desires are shaped into plans and action. Innovation, creativity, vision casting, these are leadership essentials. Yet so often we fall into patterns of reactive leadership, don't we? Rather than creative leadership. What happened? I often talk about that pinball machine, like steel balls just bouncing off a bumper to bumper. What happened today? What happened next? What's crisis now? What next? True leadership asks, what's possible here? How can we approach this differently? What if the current challenge is actually the birthplace of our next breakthrough? It's all looking through a different lens, right? Hill distinguishes between synthetic imagination, which is rearranging old ideas into new combinations, and creative imagination, the receiving and opening ourselves to receiving inspiration from the infinite. As leaders, we really need to do both of these, synthetic imagination and creative imagination. So, leadership principle here, make space for imagination. Step away from the to do list now and then, okay? Reflect, dream, ask bold questions. Ask your team members to do the same. Share this with your team members. Get them in alignment. You want them to have this information too. So, let's wrap this up. Leadership aligned with principle. It's really what it comes down to. When we align our leadership with these timeless principles, timeless, this work has stood the test of time. It really has. There's nothing to argue with here. These are non negotiables for successful leadership. Desire, faith, specialized knowledge, decision, persistence, the mastermind, and imagination. We not only grow ourselves when we engage with all of these, but we elevate everyone around us. This is leadership by design, not by default. This is leadership from the inside out, grounded in clear purpose and fueled by unwavering belief. So, as I wrap this up today, I invite you to reflect on your leadership role. Where can you deepen your desire and clarify your vision? How can you strengthen your faith in yourself and your mission? What knowledge do you need to acquire or seek out? Where is a decision waiting to be made? How can you cultivate greater persistence and consistency? Who is in your circle? And how can you build your mastermind? And finally, where can you open the door wider for imagination and innovation? Remember, you are already equipped. The Genesis frequency, the creative power of thought, the beginning of all things, the source of all things, thought, is active within you right now. Lead boldly, lead faithfully, lead with love. And don't forget to go to the uppercase source. That's where it really all starts. S, spirit, source, all that is the infinite. All right. Reach out to me, Stephen with a PH at successocean.com, or go to my calendar. I've went over today, but I think this is such important stuff. Maybe we'll do a little review next time. Successappointment.com gets you on my calendar. Let's talk about leadership development. Let's talk about personal development, because it all starts with personal development. Let me help you. Let's just have a conversation about all of this. Stephen at successocean.com, successappointment.com. So I want to thank you. Until next time, stay in the vibration of your highest good. Keep moving forward, and know that this is Dr. Cause and Effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kosmina, and I wish for you an infinitely spectacular day. God bless you.